Check it out. Thursdays, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, noon Eastern. A healthy dose of Jersey Girl wisdom. Live with Rev Jersey Girl. Sponsored by New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. And hello again, dear ones. I am not Rev Jersey Girl. And I imagine that became apparent almost immediately upon me saying hello. So welcome. This is Jersey Girl Wisdom. It happens every Thursday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time here on the New Thought Media Network. And if you didn't catch last week's episode, Rev Michelle let us know that she's taken a little trip away from everything in her world and staying it safe and heading down to get a little rest and relaxation with her family, and asked if I would guest host today, which is a great honor. And it's a great, I'm excited because I've gotten to be a guest on this show before. And when Rev Michelle and I sat down and were discussing what this show might be and how it might be, I don't know if I've told her this, but I'll tell you this, and she'll hear it sometime. When she first suggested the title Jersey Girl Wisdom, I almost laughed out loud. It's just one of those things. I'm a Jersey boy. I was raised and born in New Jersey, and and as you'll hear today as I share, in some ways couldn't get away fast enough, and in other ways really honor my upbringing. But my first thought was, will people believe that that there's wisdom in New Jersey, and I really had to quickly suspend my past belief and my past experiences and my past judgments and all of that stuff to get around and say, okay, maybe let's move forward with the idea of bringing forward the wisdom rather than the stereotypes, because I trust you've probably seen some of those. Terry Paul Choice, hello. You're going to be here next week. Great. Cool. Well, I'll look forward to that episode too. So, and yes, I knew you were a Jersey girl also. So being born and raised in Jersey, there is that piece. And I remember the very, very first time I met Reverend Michelle, and somebody said, you've got to meet Reverend Michelle Wadleigh. You two are going to get along, and she and I have talked about this, and it was at a convention, and it was a quick introduction, and she was on her way to somewhere and had something to be, and I was the new, and so I'm kind of tagging along, feeling like a tag along, going, but nope. Okay, we'll connect and we've connected so many times in so many ways, and there is that piece that once from Jersey, always from Jersey. You're from Jersey, I'm from Jersey. But we're not those stereotypes. You're from Jersey? I can't tell you how many times in my life people that don't know, because I moved out west. Quite a long time ago now. And once you leave, well, then the stereotypes become even worse. So after you leave, it was like, oh, you're from Jersey? You're from Jersey? Where you from? And it's like, no, 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 no. That's the way the New Yorkers say it. If you're from Jersey, you say you're from Jersey. Yeah, I'm from Jersey. And knowing that I would get a chance to be here today, I went and trolled around in the internet, and there's a really funny Saturday Night Live skit that's meant to be Jeopardy. That's nothing but a bunch of guys from Jersey, and all the stereotypes of what exit. And if anybody's concerned, I was right off, not far from Route 80, Hope, Harmony, exit 4A, exit 12, depending on where you were going. All those things, while in some way have a little bit of truth in them, they don't define who we are. And they don't define who we can become. They provide us opportunities to begin to experience the plethora of life. Now, when I was growing up, and we were in northern Jersey, we were in the countryside. Many years later in my life, I've come to learn that while it's not exactly what you see on The Sopranos, there were members of the North Jersey mob that lived not far from where we lived. And you wouldn't have thought it. You wouldn't have imagined that. You wouldn't have known that. And it was many, many, many years later that anybody came to learn any of this. There was a sense at the time that, well, Jersey was always New York's little buddy. And a lot of people created a perception of Jersey simply because they would fly into Newark, and they'd fly into Newark Airport, and they'd get on the highway, and they'd take the highway from Newark Airport into New York City. Well, that's all industrial. And that was their perception. We grew up growing Jersey tomatoes in the backyard. They were big. And it's part of where I found my distaste for tomatoes. It came back later, though. So in all of that, you couldn't live there and be immune to the divisiveness that was the joke. And it was always a joke. It was a joke about New York or New Jersey. It was a joke about the Polish and the Italians. It was a joke. Interestingly enough, there was... I don't remember a lot of jokes around Jewish and Catholic or Jewish and Christian, around the religious. But those were your two main choices when it came to religion. And it seemed like people respected the religion. But, there are just as many colloquialisms in Jersey as there are in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and in other places throughout the country. What I loved about what I got to experience was that there was a feeling of safety. And there was a feeling of, it was the Garden State. You could, there are highways, and every state had that. But there were also the back roads, and there are the places where you would be under the canopy of the trees for miles and miles and miles, and could drive. And we learned growing up on back roads all we needed to know about driving. And in Jersey, you live in Jersey, you learn how to drive circles. I'll tell you that too, real quick. Anybody ever have a problem driving a circle? Just go to Jersey. You learn to drive there, because circles there, 2 miles or a mile and a half across, 2 major roads, and it's huge, and it's a 4-lane circle that you got to know how to, or you're going around again. If you don't catch the right exit, you're going around again. And all that reminiscing is all fun and games. Because in so many ways, what I learned, the wisdom I personally gained about New Jersey, was that Well, I learned the me over everything else perspective there. That's what I learned. That's what I not taught necessarily by my parents, but by the society, by the people I interacted with, by the jobs that I held, and by the places that I visited, and uh, yeah, being in high school, coming out of high school, getting into the supermarket industry, working at various supermarkets in various communities across the state, in different areas, northern, central. There's a lot of us in them. Whether it was, no matter where it was, there was a lot of the separation of us and them. And it never really, even long, long before I knew any of what I know today as far as spirituality and oneness and the connection of life, none of that ever felt right. Now, you know, we were also, we were also white kids living a privileged life long before we knew that we were. And one of our great friends is of Puerto Rican descent, and his family from the island. And I know we never treated him any different. I know he didn't ever treat us any different. Um, and we didn't tolerate anyone trying to treat him differently than us. And so, in many ways, I think we might have extended a bit of our privilege over to him, at least in the instances when we were together. And we did a lot of, you could do a lot. You get on the train and be in New York in no time before you could drive. And it's a lot easier than driving a car when you're a kid, going into the city on the train than it would be on driving in. Being able to travel into New York City. And that's one of those things about, if you're living in New York, you don't call the city, or from my understanding. But if you're from Jersey, it's the city, no matter what. And you'd head into this, and then once we got our vehicle, you'd head into the city anytime you wanted. And it real quick became, how can we get out of Jersey? How do you get out of here? Because it didn't appear like there was much of a avenue there for me. We still have family in New Jersey. Most of the families moved to other places, and we still have family in New Jersey, and bless that. Because there's always a tie to what brought us to where we are. And yes, Blaine, no place like home. No place like home. If I say it a third time, then a rainbow is going to shine down, so I better be careful. Or is that a tornado hits? I forget. Anyway. So at a certain point, and there's no place like home, but in some ways you can never go home. And the Jersey I knew when I grew up, in the Jersey that I was a young man and a young adult in, it's not that I can't go back there. It's not the same place. And again, knowing I would be here today, I've done, some prep and got on Google Earth and went back and looked at the house where we grew up, and then looked at the house where we moved when we moved even farther away from, moved out into the country even a little bit more. And you can look at the old places, you can retrace the steps. And occasionally it's very beneficial to look at the memories. And Laura and I tried visiting. We went visiting once. Man, I can't even remember how long ago this was now. And it wasn't the same. There was no call. There was nothing there. There was nothing that said, "Oh, look, here was a time." So the lessons have to be the wisdom for me that comes from being a Jersey boy, if you will. Well, I joke about it. So, we were young. We got ripped off by pretty much every scam known to man in New York City. There's a couple of kids going into the city, and me and my buddy, we were walking in Times Square one day. We were following this guy, and a cop looked at us. And so the guy was in front. My buddy is in the middle. I'm in the back. And black, and the first guy's a black guy. He walks by. My buddy, the Puerto Rican guy, he walks by. I walk by. The cop looks at me. Now, again, I didn't understand any of this at the time, and I don't know but obviously the cop knew the guy in front, knew the black guy. He looks at me. He goes, "He's gonna rip you off." Cop tells me that. Okay, we keep walking. I'm thinking, I don't know. Well, the cop said it. Nope, continue on with what we're doing. And yeah, the guy rips us off. Okay. We learned a lot doing things like that. We learned what not to do. We learned how to not get involved with that separation, with taking advantage of people. And that was the thing I, in later years, realized. I was running from the normalcy of taking advantage of people. Now, that's not everybody's experience of New Jersey, right? That's not everybody's experience. And I knew, but there was a sense within me that would be mine. So I got out. So I took off. Now, the wisdom in that is being able to say, okay, so what do I want, right? Now, if you're living in a place that's perfect, and I've got friends and family I've got family and friends that live in the same school district that I went to high school to, that they went to high school to. Their kids are going to the high school that we went to. I don't think we want to talk about how many teachers are still there. But you can take the boy out of Jersey, but you can't take Jersey out of the boy. But the boy can transcend the Jersey. The girl can transcend it. We can transcend the upbringing. We can transcend the avenue through which we looked like we were headed. We can transcend where we are and who we're becoming. And that's what happened for me. I set out on a journey of personal and self-discovery that was fueled by music and a carefree hippie style of that and lifestyle, and started traveling these great United States, living on my own, being, it wasn't easy and it wasn't, but shortly after high school, almost as quick as I could, I put Jersey in the rearview mirror and said, let's go. Now here's the fun part. Again, it never leaves you. You never know where you're going to find it. And a couple of years ago, I was at, I saw this. That's a crazy way for it to show up over me. But, right, this is a locker. It's backstage at Red Rocks, at the Red Rocks Amphitheater in Colorado. And obviously somebody from New Jersey, right? Garden State, exit 63. But the one I love is, I don't care how they do it here. I'm from New Jersey. Yep. So this is a couple years ago, and that attitude prevails. That there are always going to be, and it's not necessarily from Jersey, I just found it humorous, but there will always be people in our lives that say, yeah, you might do that your way here, and that might be the way it's done around here, but I'm going to do it my way anyway, because that's where I'm from. If you're not hurting anybody, I'm not here to tell anybody who's right, who's wrong, what's the best way to do something, what's not. As long as we're not hurting anybody, who am I to judge? As long as you're not hurting me or my friends or my family, who am I to judge your behaviors and your belief system? And therefore your perspective. And therefore your desire to say, yeah, well, I'm going to do it my way anyway. It's a great line in the movie of, now I'm not going to tell that story. We'll save that story for another time. What I'm inviting you into, I guess, folks, here is the recognition that no matter where we're from and no matter where we call home, if we want to, And sometimes we don't even know what we want, and that's where it can get a little tricky. It's easy to fall into the local sense of division. Oh, you're from Jersey. I'm from Pennsylvania. Oh, you're from Utah. Yeah. Interestingly enough, from some crazy way in my life, New Jersey and I ended up in Utah for quite a long time. Now, it wasn't the only place I went. It wasn't, but you go from one place where everybody is, where you're the butt of pretty much every joke, to a place where you're even more the punchline to almost every joke, It was pretty interesting experience. But both have their unique ways of creating that sense of separation. I'm from here, you're not. I'm okay, you're not. I know what I'm doing, you don't. I know how it's supposed to be because this is the way I've always done it. So to heck with your way. I believe that is the vibration we're here to transcend, that we're here to overcome. That's part of what New Thought Media Network's all about, is creating the vibrations and the opportunities to be together in community, to say, we aren't separate, we are one, we are together. And how can we work together? How can we be together to bring forth a grander vision of a world that works for all? I believe we're doing that. And I keep it, and I'm going to keep, and I have been, and I'm going to keep inviting, and we're going to keep inviting, and we're going to keep inviting you. It's going to be a part of this. It's going to be a part of what all this is happening today. I might have grown up in Jersey. I might still slip into my Jersey attitude a little bit once in a while. And that isn't always a bad thing, because I learned some things. I learned things about, in some ways, a healthy mix of questioning and rebellion and willingness to believe in myself. I learned to discern in many ways what I believe were opportunities to misuse what I would now describe. At that time, I didn't know this terminology, but what I now would describe as opportunities to misuse the law. And I had misused the law a few times. downright abused it a few times too. But eventually you come to learn to live in alignment with the law. You come to learn to live in alignment with the universal principles that we teach here, that we share here, that we talk about here all the time. So Jersey Girl Wisdom is one of those places. And, I want to encourage you to, if by chance you found this program today and this is your very first time watching, well, thank you so much for continuing to watch after all that's been, because this is obviously not our normal programming on this program, at this time frame. But what I know about our normal programming is that Reverend Michelle does an amazing amount of work to bring you really, I believe, inspiring conversations. And New Thought Media Network, right? We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment. And I find Reverend Michelle and this program both media and entertaining. I find it both of those. We have an opportunity to be a part, and she is such an amazing expression of being a part of the team. And every week she is on here asking you to do what our great producer Diego was just letting us know we should be doing, which is donating and contributing to this. And if you watch our other programs, you hear our other hosts and you hear everyone on this network. I trust, every time I watch, reminding us that it is our financial contribution that keeps the wheels greased, that keeps things moving. It is our consciousness that helps us to reach out, to expand the conversation, to be in the dialogue, to healing our own misbeliefs and misperceptions, helping others reach optimism. Yes, Wayne, right? That is the work we're doing. And the financial contribution goes a long way to making that happen. So for those that are on committed monthly giving programs and have made that commitment to donate monthly to this movement, to this philosophy, this ministry, thank you. Your dollars are completely tax deductible. You'll get a letter at the end of the year tallying up all that. If you haven't made that commitment, but you'd like to, just click on the links that are in this video, because I know they're there somewhere, or reach out. Or reach out to me directly. You can always send us an email, info@ntmedia.org. I monitor that box every day, and I see your messages every day. And I answer messages every day. info@ntmedia.org. And let us know how we're doing. Let us know how we can do better, how we can do even more for you. But I want you to support this program. I want you to support Reverend Michelle and what she's doing, because she's proven over time, from the time I've known her, from that very first introduction, where we didn't even really get to introduce each other. You're welcome, Wade. From that very first time, we've had a connection. And it wasn't because she lives in Jersey and I did at one time. Yeah, that helped the communication. That made it a little easier to open up, to say, all right, well, if you're from Jersey, From that very first time, I have been witness to the way she works with people, with me individually, with people within her community, with people within Centers for Spiritual Living, on the committee she serves, in the places that she has shown up and given of herself selflessly to the expansion of New Thought in New Jersey and elsewhere and beyond. In that regard, she has done amazing work, and she deserves our support. And that's what we're here at New Thought Media Network to do, to support creators, to support the people that are doing the work of finding new ways to communicate this message and this philosophy. So normally, Rev Michelle, she'll go on for a little bit longer, and because I am a guest host, and because I don't have a guest to speak with or interview, and because I don't want to bore you with stories from New Jersey. I want to inspire you to be a part of this community. I want to inspire you to join us in this vision and our mission. Global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's journey along the path of evolution and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. We would welcome your support in any way, financial and otherwise. If you'd like to produce a show, if you'd like to be on a show, if you'd like to do some, what do we need? Video production, website building, anybody with WordPress people, call me, please. I will pray. I pray for a lot of things. And I don't beg or beseech, but we are looking for a WordPress wizard or wizardress or wizardress. That doesn't work. I'll figure that out. Point is, folks, I'm getting out of here. We're going to wrap this up for today. Call it good at a half an hour. Say thank you for being with us. Thank you for being a part of the New Thought Media Network family. Thank you for being here on Jersey Girl Wisdom with Rev Jersey Boy sitting in. Until next time, I love you. You are amazing. And I can't wait to be with you again. Peace and blessings. Bye now.
New Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.
Faith, love, openness, willingness.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.